listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
There was this one time I went snorkeling in the Caribbean when I was a kid. It really just blew my mind. We saw the most beautiful corals. I remember thinking they were waving at us as they moved with the ocean. And then there were all these amazing fish. I'll never forget it. It completely changed the way I look at the ocean.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places so more memories can be made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dan Gruner.
Fran DePetrillo, Savoca. It's nice to be here. It's been a long time for me. I haven't been here.
I know, and
well, it's good to have you back, Fran.
Thank you. Happy New Year to all.
Just tuning in, this is our first of what we hope many shows. Well, I didn't even check with Fran, but Dan and Fran or Fran and Dan? What do you prefer?
Dan and Fran.
I don't even know where I wrote it down on the website. I can go look. I think it. I don't
We're
know
going
whose name
in
I put
alphabetical
first.
order.
So, you know, Fran was actually here before I started working here.
Yep.
I've only been here for 6 years, but she was already co-hosting
that's
long
hysterical.
before I started working here. So Fran's got seniority out of the three of us.
That's hysterical.
I defer to Fran on the name, but
we're going to go in alphabetical order.
All right.
And, you know, I'm used to it either being Dan and Fran or Fran and Dan,
Yes.
so this is my life.
and not to be confused.
Wait, your husband's name is Dan, right?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
And not to be
Now I
confused,
figured
it's
that out.
not the Dan sitting across from me now.
No. So here we are, 2022.
Yeah.
A lot going on in our beloved country. I think, I was thinking about it this morning when I woke up that I think there's a lot of momentum in Kingston right now. A lot of good things.
Were you at the meeting the other night, and can we talk about that?
Absolutely, I was there. I was able to get there around 7 o'clock. I stayed for about an hour. I wanted to just get the overall feel of the night. And, it's interesting that of the people that spoke, 56 spoke in favor, 14 opposed. 9 of those that were opposed were paid by Neil Bender to be there.
Yeah, that's what Tony said yesterday on the radio.
Yeah.
He had Don Mapes as his host yesterday.
Oh,
and Don was
spoke.
also there.
Well, Tony and Don both spoke, and Tony Marmo, I know you're listening because you're a radio rat.
Yeah, he's definitely listening.
He did a great job in prefacing and enunciating the word local.
Yeah. And he said the same thing that you just said. Out of the 14 people that spoke in opposition of it, none of them were paid hacks.
And in my opinion, one should be immediately just discredited.
Absolutely.
But and another, ironically, that opposes this, think about this, is our board president of our school district.
Right.
Who was there with his attorney. So I mentioned
That's the guy that you've been trying to get on the radio.
Yeah, I mentioned last time, Jim Shaughnessy, seats wide open next to me.
We got 3 of them wide open.
Come air your grievances. I just to be clear, I have a lot of questions for you. A lot of questions about the school.
As a parent as well.
As a parent, yeah, not as a as a taxpayer and as a parent, I have a tremendous amount of questions for you. You're suing a project that is going to benefit our community, and being that Jim clearly can't understand a pilot, because that's his problem with the project, we have somebody coming on this morning that will explain a pilot.
Very good.
The esteemed Joe Deegan, who I think you know will be here at 8 o'clock, and I talked to him last night, and I had said, Joe, are you well-versed in explaining what a pilot is, how it works? And he said, absolutely. I said, great, that's what we're going to talk about.
Good.
But it was great to see so many people from different walks of life come out to support the project. And it's a testament to who the Jordans are, right?
And for anybody listening that isn't, I started out with saying the meeting, like everybody knows. We're
Right.
talking about the Kingstonian project. So maybe some of our listeners were there.
Yeah, I'd love to get your take, but, it was good to hear, I read online yesterday in the Freeman comments, people that weren't there because they thought it was irresponsible to have a public meeting 2 years in, but that's another story. Wanted to know if, implying that people that spoke on behalf of the project were paid. And the irony of it is the only people that were paid to be there were people that spoke against it. And again, if you're not familiar, Neil Bender is a real estate hoarder, not a developer. That's bought up half of Uptown Kingston within the last 5 years and has not done one thing with one building, has chosen to put the Jordans and the project in its crosshairs and sues them every second of every day. He paid people to go speak against it. The lawyer that I heard spoke should be embarrassed for himself because he just didn't tell the truth. Pretty easy to get the facts on a public project, but so I think that's, hopefully the Common Council listens to what the community wants. It's clear what the community wants. So we shall see.
Yeah, great turnout. Glad it went the way it did.
And then a huge announcement at the end of the year with the old IBM complex. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that. Tell us.
So Pat Ryan, the county executive, and his team announced a company called National Resources that has a history of rehabbing abandoned IBM properties. Took control of the IBM complex in Lake Katrine. Allen Ginsberg is out after 20-some dreaded years. And this National Resources developed iPark 84, which is the old fish kill
Oh, okay, yeah.
plant for IBM, which I don't think was as in bad a shape as Lake Katrine, but, for the first time, that's why I say I think 2022, there's finally going to be some momentum after, 20-some years of kind of running in quicksand here, so.
So when you say Lake Katrine, so is it the property?
The whole property.
The whole property.
Yeah,
Okay.
Before Ginsburg kind of maybe, they took away a couple because of tax issues.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I'm not any expert in environmental law and all that stuff, but they used, if you remember, they knocked down those buildings by where the soccer fields are.
Uh-huh.
And there's those massive mounds of debris.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those are all contaminated. And he didn't remove them like he was supposed to. So they got the federal government involved, used that as leverage because of the contaminated site. And I'm just summarizing the whole situation.
Yeah, because he didn't do a lot of things he was supposed to.
Well, and that's where Pat Ryan and his team came in, and they were able to attach liabilities to him personally. And, right, that changes the game. That's people use LLCs all the time to protect themselves personally. And then all of a sudden, boom, So kudos to the county exec and his team. It's pretty, I have an office in Fishkill, not far from iPark 84, and I, kind of when it was in development, I just took a ride back there one day, and I mean, we should be excited.
What's in iPark 84, for example?
Yes, it's a real mix of, Sloop Brewing is there.
Okay, then I've been there. Not that I
all right, so but now it's a real wide mix of, there's a term, and I was going to try and pull it up before. There's a term that they use, but it's essentially like you use the term mixed space.
It's probably a little bit like the one up in Columbia County in Hudson, where Hudson Brewing actually is. There's all kinds of, there's some manufacturing, there's some warehouse shopping, and so it kind of reminds me of that. So the opportunities are endless as to what can go in.
It is, and I think what's interesting is, right, they have a track record of dealing with dilapidated properties that need significant work. And, I remember I was a junior in high school. No, a sophomore in college when IBM actually left.
Yeah.
Like we saw it on the horizon. And,
probably when you were a junior in high school, and then it was
exactly.
sophomore in college, and they actually then.
I'm 46 years old now, so do the math. To have it finally coming back, and I'm just trying to pull up what the, because it's interesting, it's not what you would think in terms of the uses that they put in these redevelopments. So a lot of good things hopefully to come.
Yeah. Yeah, I envision things like that can do production, but also have like a customer aspect side to it, like things that can do production but can do tours of the production, things like that.
And the reality is we need jobs. Hopefully they're well-paying jobs.
Yeah.
Not minimum wage jobs, because that doesn't help move the needle really for anybody. But listen, we got to be optimistic here, right? So we got some good guests coming on this morning. Bernadette Rexford from the Benedictine Health Foundation.
That's exciting. I haven't seen Bernadette in a long time.
I thought you two might enjoy catching up.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I'm on the board. Fran was on the board for
a long time.
Yeah, I think you were approaching my tenure.
Right.
Although I'm still there. But you were on for what, maybe 8 years?
I think it was it a 3-year term?
So.
I think I did 9 years.
Yeah, so you'd have done your 2 terms, a break for a year, and then you came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the bylaws. So Bernadette will be here to talk about the foundation.
7:30 to 8, right?
7:30 to 8, and
8 a.m. we have
Mr. Joe Deegan. Joe and I.
Barry Van Ness.
Yes, and I was just hoping you would pronounce it because I couldn't remember. But Joe's going to be here to talk. He's going to talk about pilots, but also, Joe always has a very good finger on the pulse in terms of what's happening from the real estate side, but just kind of in general, because if people are investing here, that's a good sign, and if they're not, it's not a good sign. So Joe's been doing it a long time, and I think he's going to hopefully help some people understand a pilot, which to me isn't that difficult, and I'm not a finance guy, but apparently it causes a major problem for certain people in our community. But again, you choose to learn what you learn versus the facts. So, and then 8:30 is going to be Sal Guido from Mariners Harbor.
Yay!
Yeah, Sal's a character. And,
What's Sal got going on? He's going to be talking all Mariners?
Well, he immediately said, what are we going to do, talk sports and politics? I said, well, we're not going to dive right in.
Yeah. Good.
I want him to actually, what I talked to him about, and if he doesn't remember, I'll remind him when he gets here, is, what it's been like to own a restaurant the last 2 years.
Yeah. When you were talking about how we need jobs here and things, what has happened everywhere with the service industry and restaurants, it's just devastating.
Yeah, and it spurred off of Sal and Frank and their whole family is a tremendous supporter of the Gruner Cancer Fund, and I wanted to ask people that have been longtime sponsors of the Bike for Cancer Care in person this year. Because I wanted to let them know we'd be okay if this wasn't the year. And I just, so kind of I took a group, my brother took a group, and, a lot of these people have been supporting us for now 18 years. And so I talked to Sal. It was actually the day of the Hooli. Figured got to be a good way to get his temperature. No, we're in. I said, So I said to myself the next day, I said, you need to go talk to him one-on-one. And I did, and he supported us, and he was great. But he also shared with me, what it's like behind the scenes running a restaurant right now.
Because people don't realize.
No.
And if you're not in it, why would you realize it?
And if you go out to dinner tonight, this weekend, whenever, and the service is a little slow, be patient.
I know.
There's a good chance there's one person in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Or they generally have 6 wait staff, and they only have 4, and you don't notice because you never worked in a restaurant. Well, I did.
Yeah.
And if you're supposed to have 6 and you have 4, those 4 people, that just means they each picked up 2 tables.
Right. And the wait staff, some of them feel like they are like putting themselves at risk. You're waiting on people in questionable times.
Absolutely.
And then for what? Because not as many people are coming out. And so, they're getting 3 tables a night instead of 12 tables a night. And so what are they really making?
Right.
And then the cost of food and the supplies that the restaurant needs. I mean, you see it when you go grocery shopping. I mean, the cost of food is insane right now.
I just read this. A packet of bacon.
It's funny, bacon was the thing that sent me over the edge in the grocery store.
Right, because isn't it? It's like $8 now.
Oh yeah, it was $8.99 for Oscar Mayer. It wasn't even like
Yeah, forget Smithfield or whatever. It's funny because my son's 14. Kids coming or going the weekend. You never know who's sleeping over.
So you always keep some bacon in the house.
I would keep 2 packages. And they, you know what? Like say 2 kids sleep over. It'd all be gone. And you know what? I love doing that stuff, but
when it went from $3.99 a
when
pack,
it was $8 and now it's almost $20.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I know.
Yeah. Even eggs, milk.
I know. It's insane. So then you think the restaurants have to.
Yeah, I don't want to name names, but I had a conversation with a restaurant that back when prices, whenever that was, really started to go through the roof. And I happened to be there lunchtime, and he was getting his orders in for the week. And, I could tell he was, like, really going through, like, what was coming in the door. And I said, hey, how's it, going price? How's it going? He says, well, it's going to get up to a point where I got to contemplate what I'm serving.
Yeah, isn't that terrible?
Because his philosophy was, you can't charge $55, $60 for a steak, right? But it was getting to that point. So, I thought it'd be interesting to, Sal's obviously incredibly successful, but I want to get his insights, and of course, we're going to have to talk about the Giants. You know, I think Sal's finally off the ledge.
Oh.
But, yeah, and we'll take it from there. So,
yeah. So lots to talk about.
yeah, let me just...
And if any of our listeners have any questions, suggestions, anything you want to chat about on the positive side, give us a call. And they don't have the number up for me anymore, and I don't have it memorized.
3319255, is that it?
All right.
It's lasered in my brain. And if you're listening and you want to come in and talk to us, or talk to the community, I should say, feel free to reach out. We are not, Fran and I were talking. We kind of just winged it this morning. But, Fran and I were talking before we came on about, guests and who should we look at. We'll look at anybody. This isn't meant to be, what Dan and Fran think. We want to help people get their word out. So if you have a business to promote, you have an organization to promote, feel free. We hope we come across as welcoming. Maybe not me all the time, but I'm passionate about what I believe. So.
And our next time on is January 28th. And for anybody who, I'm sure nobody cares other than me, that I am no longer in tourism, which I do miss. I have to say tourism's wonderful in our community. But I am at the Board of Elections, and January 5th is National Election Inspector Day. So for the folks who work the poll sites for elections, we couldn't do it without them, and we're always looking for new election inspectors. We always want to add to the list of people that we can call on for the primary and the general. So if anybody's interested in that, they can reach me at the Board of Elections, 340-3763.
Is that a paid position or volunteer?
Election inspector is a paid position. It's $15 an hour. And it is a very long day, but it's only one day, so because they do start at 5:15 in the morning.
Yep.
And they get out, we hope, 9:30 p.m. It's a long day.
Yeah, and I imagine do you have to commit to the whole time?
You do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because who did I see doing that I was surprised?
Julie Donovan?
Yeah.
Was it Julie? Out of 625 election inspectors in one day, somehow I knew that's who you were thinking of.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
What do they have to do training for that, or?
Yes, you do have to do training. Everybody has to be trained every year, even if you've done it. But we do online training now.
Yep.
So for anybody who is not a new inspector, and I want to say we had about 50 new inspectors in 2021.
Now, so what did you say, 625?
Around 625 people work on Election Day. There's that many poll sites in Ulster County.
Wow. Now, do other states do training?
Yes, everybody has to. Yeah.
Georgia does training? Sorry. I just say.
To my knowledge.
Yeah, to your knowledge, right. Yeah.
I know New York.
Well, it's comforting, and I mean it seriously, that there is training. There's someone like you that's overseeing this.
Somebody new, the commissioners do the training. So Ashley Didis and John Quigley,
Yep.
They do the training for all new inspectors. So, and if you are not brand new, and you've done it before, you can do the online training. But we monitor that. We can see what they did.
No, and I mean it seriously. Like, it's comforting to know that, because you hear these god-awful stories, not here locally, but in other states, that hear that there's actually like a formal monitored process, or, and I mean, it's nice when you go to vote and you see somebody like Julie Donovan, because she takes it seriously, and
absolutely,
so that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's a long day, but it is 15.
Yeah, I'm not. If you're trying to pitch me right now, it's not happening.
Yep, nope.
I'd be good for like the 4:45 till like, I don't know, late afternoon, and then I'm a morning guy.
I see. Yeah, I know. On occasion, if we've had some like longtime inspectors that have maybe like health reasons that they can't
Now
do it
that
all
I'm
day.
thinking, I mean, there's some elderly people there.
We had to do it.
I voted Edson.
We have to do an age range of state report every year, and we have. I think our youngest was 18, and our eldest was 93 this year. Did the training, did the full day of work, and so it ranges anywhere from 18 to 93. And we were thankful we had a lot of new people this year, people who are newly retired. And I mean, it's one day, it gets them out, they take it seriously.
You get to see a ton of people.
You do, So, we couldn't do it without them. So thank you to everybody who does work on Election Day for us.
So I wanted to get back to the iPark 84. The hamster just got off the wheel here and it loaded. Just to give it, because Fran had asked, like, who's there? Mm-hmm. So this is their park in Fishkill. Anchor tenants such as Global Foundries, IBM, and Imagine employ over 2,500 people. The attraction at iPark is the $1 billion of infrastructure in place, low-cost supervised utilities, redundancy, as well as financial incentives from the Empire State Development and Think Duchess. iPark also provides high bay space for traditional warehouse users as signed new tenants like Sloop Brewing, More Good, Cazzini Brothers, as well as others. It's a mixed use of office, warehouse, shipping, and it's right off I-84. If you were to go down to 84, across the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, right past the I-9 exit for Fishkill, where like the Gap warehouse, and that's where my office is, go another, 2 miles up the road. It's right there. Mm-hmm. So you think about here, right off the thruway,
right
2 miles away.
Exactly. I mean, right here. And we would get
God
people
willing.
from all over. Because there's one in Westchester, and it's very off the beaten path. And I'm trying to think of, it doesn't have a ton of tenants, but it's an old industrial building that was renovated. And again, I want to say it's a brewery, but like an arcade. It's kind of like a private-owned Dave & Buster's kind of thing.
Yeah, so that's becoming the more common theme. There's one of those in Danbury. And my company, we actually just took space. I think we move in February 1st. It's like a turnkey community. Right?
Yeah,
There's
isn't that
barbershop.
Cool? Oh my gosh, yeah, isn't that great?
Driving range, everything you need right there. So,
yeah, we're kind of hoping for a mini version of that at the Daley Freeman building because the Board of Elections will be moving in the spring to the Daley Freeman building.
You are?
Being renovated.
Interesting.
So we're excited to see who the other tenants will be because we'll have our own little complex there.
Yeah, no, I won't say any more, but I like what I hear what's going to go on there.
Okay.
And I think you'll like being there.
I hope so.
Yeah. It's another great project that I won't steal somebody's thunder. So, Lawrence, what time are we supposed to do birthdays?
We don't do those until 8.
Perfect.
If you have any questions about what goes on in there, she's the one to ask. She probably knows more about what goes on in there than I do.
What's goes that? On where?
In there with birthdays, with reading
I was
of all that
say,
stuff.
I was like, no, 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Fran's on top of it.
I'm on top of it.
If you want to, before Bernadette gets here, if you want to read a couple of those announcements, I think there's 2 or 3 of them in there that I just put in there this morning.
Okay.
You give one to Fran and figure out which ones are good or not. And then Bernadette should be here shortly, and I'll bring her in.
Yeah, she is here. She's patiently waiting for us. All right, Fran, you want to hit it first?
Sure. This is a listing for Kingston Manacor and DeManacor. Kingston Manacor and DeManacor Incorporated is a 501c3 not-for-profit social organization located in the city of Kingston since 1868. And they are having the Winter Wurst Fest takeout. Oh, I love it. Saturday, January 22nd. From 12 noon to 1:30 is your pickup time for your food. 37 Greenkill Avenue. And it looks delicious, and I'm hungry. There's a Wurst platter, bratwurst, knotwurst, weisswurst. You name it, it's all there. And that's January 22nd, 37 Greenkill Avenue. You call to place your order. So this is the phone number. Write it down. It looks delicious. 845-546-3534. 546-3534, and that's January 22nd.
Great comfort food. All right, so Kiwanis Ice Arena, located at 6 Small World Avenue up in Saugerties. Once again, be the official stop for the Empire State Winter Games Torch Relay. Torch Relay will be arriving in Saugerties at 4 p.m. on Monday, January 31st, on its trek from New York City to Lake Placid, site of the 2022 Empire State Winter Games. As in past years, the parade is part of the Torch Relay ceremonies. Time schedules as follows: 4 p.m. Empire State Winter Games Torch Relay arrives in Saugerties, 4:30. All those participating in the Torch Relay will proceed down Small World Avenue. 5 p.m. Torch Relay Parade kicks off, proceeding south on Washington Avenue, right on Main, and then over to the Ice Arena. 5:45 Torch Relay Parade arrives at the Ice Arena. So if you're looking for information, you can call Jackie DeWitt, 532-4584, or Amy Luke, 532-3259, or you can visit their website at the Kiwanis Ice Rink up in Saugerties.
Before we move to one, I need to back up on this delicious Winter Wurst Fest takeout. You need to get your orders in by today. It said January 12th, but if they have us announcing it. So 546-3534 and see if you can get your order in, because it's pickup only and they need to be prepared.
Yes. All right. Saugerties Sports Hall of Fame, after a 2-year hiatus, is back. Tradition of honoring those who have made significant impact on Saugerties sports history. Mark Guido, if you're listening, as the Sports Hall of Fame enters its 59th year of existence, 2022 induction banquet will take place on Saturday, April 9th. That's a long way off, so we won't give you any of the details yet on that, but tickets are available on the induction banquet by contacting Mike Hassenball, 914-388-2348. Ticket price $30. Does not say who the honorees are going to be, so Mark, there's still hope
It's
yet.
a big surprise.
Yeah. The great Mark Guido of Saugerties Little League. We took him down. His dad still won't let me
I'm
live
sure
it
he's
down.
still upset about that.
He is. Him and his dad both. So, we got to take a break?
No, we're not. So just go ahead and introduce Bernadette, and then we'll take a big break at 8 o'clock.
All right. You're really grinding us out here day one, Lawrence, huh?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to make sure you guys are really into it.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, Bernadette Rexford.
Hi, Fran.
It's so nice to see you.
Happy
Yes.
New Year.
Happy New Year. And so Bernadette is joining us. Thanks, Dan, for bringing her in from Benedictine Health Foundation.
Good morning. You are our official first guest.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, I was here on New Year's Eve, just Lawrence and I, and
a bottle of rum.
And we had Steve Peruso on, but this is the first Dan and Fran, and you're officially our first guest, so welcome, and thanks for answering the call early in the morning. A lot of people go, and Bernadette said, I'll take the first one. I said,
Ooh, yeah.
perfect, you will.
We knew we liked that, Bernadette.
I like the morning. It's a
Me
good
too.
day.
Yep. So, we did our disclosure earlier that I think most people know my role with the foundation and my involvement, my family's involvement, and Fran as a past board member. But really wanted to ask you, because you live it day in and day out, of what our world has been in the pandemic, of helping people fighting cancer, and the challenges, and I remember at the end of the year when we were talking about the budget, and I kept thinking to myself, we made it, right? We had some kind of tough conversations a year and a half ago about where were we going to be, what was the foundation going to look like, and so just wanted to, on a positive note, to talk about, kind of everything that, you helped us navigate the last year and a half.
Yes, it was a tough year for everyone, but with the support of the board and the enthusiasm of the board, we continued to fundraise through the Bike for Cancer. We did a virtual event, which was very successful. And, unfortunately, with a lot of other health issues, they didn't stop during COVID. We still had patients that were coming in diagnosed with cancer, needing assistance through the Rosemary Gruner Memorial Cancer Fund for food and gas cards. And we also have an emergency assistance fund that helps folks with an additional $250 to help them with utility bills or credit card bills or car insurance.
And I wonder if there were even more diagnoses because so many more people were seeking health treatment that they wouldn't have ordinarily had Corona not come around. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then the secondary cancer gets diagnosed. So it's almost like you probably saw more people.
Well, there's two sides to that. One, we did see more because some folks were going in for other treatments and it was discovered, or they weren't coming in for treatment because of the pandemic and not wanting to go into the hospital or to a doctor's office or to go for treatment. So it was kind of twofold. But we continued to provide the services to anyone that came. And they're very, very grateful. This is life-changing for some folks. They were just diagnosed with cancer. They lost their job. They may have lost their insurance. So the Rosemary Gruner Memorial Cancer Fund provides $500 on an annual basis for folks to purchase either the food cards for Hannaford or Stewart's gas cards for gas. So last year we received 115 applications for folks. So it's not slowing down. Cancer is not going away, but we're here to help. We're here to be there for folks that are in times of need. And we have really good support system of the oncologists and the social workers and the hospitals and the oncology support house. So they do refer and spend time with folks to tell them about our program, and then we take it from there.
And if you're just joining us, Bernadette Rexford from the Benedictine Health Foundation is our official first guest of Dan and Fran. And so Bernadette, I know you share with the board on a regular basis the impact that the support has. And if anybody's not familiar with the foundation and what the foundation does, I think what particularly the last 2 years, what's helped the foundation not only survive but thrive is we help local people. It's local money helping local people. And if anybody has crossed my path in the last 18 years, I've probably asked you to support us because I believe in what we do. And I'm passionate about what we do because I get to see firsthand the impact. Not so much anymore because thank God we have Bernadette to, but the first couple of years when we were starting this out and I was kind of running around asking anybody that looked my way for money, I learned early on the most effective way to, you got to be transparent, you have to be passionate, and you have to be, open about, I always say if you can answer the who, what, where, but ultimately why we help people. I don't think there's any question, hopefully not, in our Kingston community about why we do what we do. And I remember back, you mentioned we had to do the bike ride virtually a year ago, and it gave us an opportunity to do videos. And I think we're all little not sure what to think. I wouldn't want to say uneasy because I don't like to think I get uneasy, but I do. I get anxious internally. And I kind of felt that about everybody. We had asked sponsors of the Bike for Cancer Care, participants, volunteers, to be in these 2-minute videos. Just let's hear why Fran supports us. And we were doing them at the training room in Ulster Savings Bank so we could, all be spread out and everything. And one of our sponsors walked in. And I remember I said to this person beforehand, I'm not asking you to do this video because of your sponsorship. Because I knew for a fact their business was closed at that point.
Oh.
And
COVID.
Because of COVID, they were forced to be closed. And the person, being very careful not to say their name because my phone would blow up, that they're very private, generous people, and handed me a check for $2,500.
Well.
And I said, "You don't need to do that." She says, "They said we want to." And that was, I remember I turned to Bernadette, I handed her the check, I said, "I think we're going to be okay."
Yeah.
We raised, what, $87,000 through a virtual event?
Yeah.
But more importantly, that allowed us to help those 115 families. And the emergency cancer fund is fairly new, but maybe talk about that for a few minutes.
The emergency fund is in addition to the $500 that were given to applicants to the Rosemary Gruner Fund, and that is any bill that they're behind in or need help in. They give us the bill and we pay it directly to the vendor. And that fund is pretty much from mostly grant writing, for grants that I write to cover the program, for that program. The Bike for Cancer event that we do every September, which we're coming upon our 19th one already, in September 25th. It's a Sunday. That is all the funding for the Rosemary Gruner Fund for the food and gas cards. So it's what we do is, it's bad enough that you've just been told that you're diagnosed with cancer and the paperwork and the insurance and all that you have to deal with. What we do through the foundation and the Rosemary Gruner Fund and the Emergency Assistance Fund is make it simple for them. One-page application. For the Rosemary Gruner Fund, it's one page on information about the applicant. The second page is from their oncologist and the medical information. And it's based on income. If you're applying for a family, it's $55,000 or less. If it's an individual, it's $35,000 annual income or less. And we turn those applications around within a day or two because we know that folks are in dire straits. Folks are needing gas to get to and from treatment. Some of them don't go to treatment because they don't have money for gas. And the Rosemary Gruner Fund Stewart's Gas Cards helps them get to treatment. Some of them haven't been eating well because they're trying to decide whether they should put their money into their gas tank or to pay insurance bills, and the food cards from Hannaford allows them the opportunity to get some healthy food while they're going through treatment. And I share this story a lot because I think it's very important, and I do share at the board testimonials that come in each month because that's what it's really all about. And one that I can remember from a couple of years ago that still sticks with me, and one that happened 2 years ago that still sticks with me, and I'll share it with you, is one applicant from Phoenicia was going through treatment, and it was around Thanksgiving time. And she was traveling from Phoenicia to Kingston for treatment, which is what?
25 miles.
25 miles away, one way and back, so that's 50 miles. And she was really hoping to be healthy enough for Thanksgiving. And when she was awarded the Rosemary Gruner Fund cards for Hannaford, she was thrilled because now she could buy a turkey for Thanksgiving. And most of us don't think about that. And for me, I still get goosebumps thinking about when she shared that with me and how impactful this program really means to people. Another story that I just like to share is there was a gentleman 2 years ago who was a plumber as a professional. That's what he did for a living, and he lives out in Shokan, and he didn't have a hot water heater because he couldn't afford it. So here he was, going through cancer treatments, didn't have hot water to take a hot shower. So through our Emergency Assistance Fund and the help of the United Way, we were able to get a hot water heater for him and get it installed for him. So these are some of the things that the local dollars that are donated are going back towards local patients and local residents that live in the county. And that's what's so important about this program is, or this foundation is, that what we raise here stays here. We take care of the folks that live here. So, and I always say, at the board too, that I'm gifted because we get to raise the money, which is fun through our fundraising efforts, and then we get to give it away to local people that really need it.
You made me think while you were talking that kind of a little known secret of mine was I used to keep 3 testimonials in my drawer at work. And usually about this time, a couple weeks from now, early February, where you start to turn the wheel towards the the next year of the bike ride, and I chaired it for 15 years, and I wasn't willing to admit that I was getting tired and stressed, and kind of you take something from zero, and thank God we've been blessed to grow it every year. But I used to read those testimonials, and there's two that just are like yours, are just lasered in my brain. And our family was honored by the foundation years ago with the St. Benedict Award, and my family thought it was appropriate that I accept the award, and with that, give a speech. Well, it was the first time I'd ever spoken in front of 450 people, but that doesn't matter. So there's a quote by a woman, the first person that I met that we helped. I think it was like 5 or 6 years in, and a kind of bell went off in my head. I said, I should really try and meet some of these people. And so this woman agreed to meet me. She tells me her story, and exactly what you just described, Bernadette. This woman worked in nonprofits for 20 years, decided to become a consultant for the nonprofit world. So now she's working for herself, and she gets diagnosed with breast cancer. She's out of work. She's a caregiver for her mother. And the quote she said to me is, the gift cards allowed my mind to rest while my body worked with the radiation. And I said, man, you don't think about it. And then the other one was a woman, and it was literally 2 days before the Sister Mary Charles dinner, where I was being honored. And, I like to be prepared, believe it or not. But I was racing through my brain of, I don't want to say too much, but you got to make sure you thank everybody, because that's one thing I always screw up. I always forget to thank somebody. So I made sure I did that for me. But anyway, I get this testimonial, and this woman is saying how she's coming from Ellenville. And people would have to give her a ride. And they would never accept money from her because she was going through cancer treatment. So we give her the gift cards for the gas. Now she's getting out of the car and she's leaving it on the seat.
Oh.
Right? And, to hear this woman, she wrote us a 2-page letter, and thanked us, and, what a gift you are. And it kind of takes it all, and I'm thinking back as you're talking, I love the fact that we don't even, if you have cancer, we're going to help you. It doesn't matter what kind of cancer. I think you look around today and everything's, you got to fit here or there. We just say we want to help you. And to me, that's enabled us to, God, we're going into 19 years. I know the last 2 years are what happened?
Right.
But, God, 19 years.
19 years. I know.
And I was a lot younger then.
You had just moved back here, right?
Yeah, I moved back from Boston right after my mom passed away, and my family, we wanted to give back, and I'd ridden in this bike ride up in Boston. It was actually in Waltham, Mass, but in memory of a friend of mine I lost to cancer. And so it was my siblings and I, my brother-in-law, were talking. We wanted to do something different. We wanted to do something new. And I rode in that. It was called the Ride for Research twice. And the guy, my friend Basil Pitek, who passed away, I always joke he's like me on. Was more amped up than me. He outdid me. He planned our ski trips. We traveled all over North America, and I was just telling this story last night. And the way it worked was Basil organized everything. If he told you the trip was $1,500, you paid $1,500. He took care of your meals, everything.
That's cool.
And you had to follow the rules, so one guy didn't, but that's another story. So we rode in memory of him, and I organized the team with the help of, Basil lived in Manhattan, help of another guy, and, we raised the first year $35,000 as a team, and we finished second. And I remember like the whole like New Balance is their big sponsor, so we all got a free pair of New Balance shoes, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool. But it stuck in my mind, and it stuck in my mind that it was such a wide array of people, from kids to adults to
Families.
And families, and that's really where the Bike for Cancer Care came from. 19 years ago. God, I don't like that. So Bernadette, we've kind of touched on a lot of different things. I know we try to focus on fun at the foundation, and again, another reason I think we do well. I still remember, I'd laugh. I brought this idea to the foundation. What are we in our fourth year? Third year?
Fourth.
So 5 years ago, there's a great little, not even little mountain, a hidden treasure in the Catskills called Platikill. And it's where my son and I ski every weekend. And looking at this flyer up there, and they're telling me I can rent the mountain out for a day. And I said, sounds like a great fundraiser. And everybody's like, what, are you crazy? I said, well, back then it was not much money at all. I said, I kind of think we can make it work. We haven't had great weather so far. Last year, we finally hit it out of the park. So why don't you spend a couple minutes telling everybody about...
Last year, when you needed it the most, you hit it out of the park with
We
the weather.
did.
Yeah,
we did, because the year before was a flat tire.
But we still did well. We still have a lot of fun. This year, our fourth one is Tuesday, March 15th. It's a great event. It's a lot of fun. Everything's provided for $150 a ticket. You get to ski. We rent the mountain for a day, so it's just our party. You get to ski all day. And from 9 to 4, we do provide bus transportation if anyone wants to take a bus from the Hannaford supermarkets here in Kingston up to Platikill, or you could, of course, drive and meet us there, too. But it's skiing and snowboarding. They do offer lessons. Your lift tickets is included, your lunches, the bus transportation, all of it's included for $150. It's a lot of fun. And again, it's Tuesday, March 15th. And I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors. It's a great event, a lot of fun. I want to shout out to our mountain sponsor is SRH World. Beverage sponsor is Highway Rehab Corp. Our lunch sponsors are Ryan and Ryan Insurance Brokers. Appetizer sponsors are the Bruderhof Community, Kaiser and Kaiser, Meltzer and Hill Wealth Advisory. We have trail sponsors who are Joseph Hill, Marshall and Sterling Insurance, Rondout Savings Bank, Timely Signs, Woodward Family. Bus sponsor is SVN, Deegan Collins Commercial Associates. And then we have lift sponsors who are Tobin Hill Properties, Michael and Kristen Doyle. Trail Sweepers Snow and Sports Club are joining us this year, Ulster Savings Bank, and River Radiology. So thank you to all of our sponsors. It's going to be a great event. And if you're interested in sponsoring or attending the event, just go to our website, bhfoundation.org, and you can click on the ski benefit and you can register. So, or give me a call directly at 481-1371.
And if you are a skier, you haven't been to Platikill, it is the hidden gem of the Catskills. There's a lot of misnomers, like they don't have snowmaking and da-da-da. Those are all untrue, but if you want to keep believing that so I can ski on a quiet mountain every weekend, that's fine.
Is that where Lawrence goes to?
No, Lawrence usually goes to Bel Air, right?
Well, on Fridays I do, but normally I'll ski Hunter, and
yeah,
I actually prefer to ski Vermont because that's more challenging. But but no, Fridays I'll every Friday.
You came to this event last year, right?
Oh yeah. I'm going this year too.
Good.
Except the two guys I normally go with are going to be in Italy skiing, Cameron Rylance and Tom Murphy.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're going to go. They're going to go ski the Alps.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Well,
I guess they're going to have to pass up the Benedictine Foundation Platikill ski trip.
Yeah.
They can still make a donation.
Yeah, they went. The three of us went together last year.
No, I remember you guys there. So, but anyway, just to give you an idea, if we like to have fun, Lisa, who's the manager of Platikill, I was there the one day over Christmas it didn't rain, and as soon as I walked upstairs and she saw me, she started smiling. She says, March 15th. I said, absolutely. She said, you guys are the most fun group all year. Not to discredit anybody else, but the great Ed Hill is probably the best raffle salesperson I've ever met. But in all seriousness, it is a great day. It's just another way for us to help give back, right? That's really what it's all about. And, yeah, we try to have fun doing it. The other reality is if you take good care of yourself, that's an incredibly important component of our lives. So we're coming up on 8 o'clock.
If you want to now, we can say goodbye to Bernadette. Say goodbye to Bernadette and thank her for coming in. Joe's actually in the lobby patiently waiting.
Yes.
We can go do our big break, come back with birthdays and Joe Deegan if you guys want to do that.
Perfect. Bernadette, thank you for being the first guest.
Thank you. It was
yes,
a lot
you
of
did
fun.
a great job.
Thank you for what you did. Great to see.
I know I don't say it enough. Thank you, because I mean, all the great work that Bernadette does, it's not something anybody can do, right? It takes a certain demeanor, a certain mindset to help people navigate through a very scary and challenging time. And I can say that not only as a board member, but as a family that's heavily invested in the foundation, you couldn't do a better job. And I mean that wholeheartedly, and I know I don't say that enough, but so hopefully 2022 we will get back to, we are getting back to Sample, Sip, and Savor.
Yes, we are. Yep.
Yeah. So more to come on that. That's our next fun event at the foundation. So we're going to take a break. Bernadette, thanks for coming in. Dan and Fran will be back in a minute.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
January is National Blood Donor Month, and Dunkin' Donuts and the American Red Cross are teaming up to honor blood donors who make a difference. This is Donna Morrissey of the Red Cross. All those who come in to give blood in the month of January at a Red Cross blood drive will receive a $5 Dunkin' Donuts gift card. It's one way we can say thank you for being a hero to patients in need. Your help is needed now. Please call 1-800-RED-CROSS, visit redcrossblood.org, or download the Blood Donor app to find a blood drive near you. Thank you for making a difference.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Every day,
The men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, wherever the mission takes us, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, my name is Jackie Lovezzo. I'm from Lake Katrine, and I support the Kingston Community Radio because it is an invaluable resource to the community and its residents.
This programming is brought to you by the Friends of Kevin Cahill. As a strong advocate of local broadcasting, Assemblymember Cahill urges you to support Kingston Community Radio with your time and donations. Your contributions keep KCR vital and on the air at FM 92.5, AM 920, and on the web at mykcr.org. Please join Assemblymember Cahill and send your gifts of $10, $25, or more to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Together, let's keep KCR alive.
I'm sorry, there's two.
Okay, we're back.
Okay. Hi, we're back. I don't even know what today is. It's the 14th. So we don't have a birthday for today.
No birthdays today? It's just weekend birthdays?
Just weekend birthdays.
All right, let them rip.
So January 15th, please wish a happy 86th birthday, given your age, Eleanor Leidig, from your friends at the Town of Ulster Senior Club. So that's your birthday tomorrow, January 15th, Eleanor Leidig. And that makes the winner of the birthday winner of the famous cow pie from Boyce Dairy Milk House and Kingston Community Radio. And that goes to Eleanor. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
You can go straight to Boyce's Dairy to pick that up. And then Sunday, we have a birthday. Sunday, January 16th, please wish a happy birthday to Christopher Strang from your friends and family, Mom and Sibs, Kathleen, Bethany, Susan, Stephen, nieces and nephews. Christopher Strang, happy birthday, January 16th, and that makes you the winner of the Boyce Dairy famous cow pie. Courtesy of Boyce Dairy Milk House and Kingston Community Radio. All right, enjoy that.
Thank you, Fran. So if you're just joining us, Dan Gruner, Fran DePetrillo, hopefully better known as the Dan and Fran Show at some point after we build this up and take it global.
Yeah, we'll put banners or we'll put billboards on Albany Avenue. It'll
Absolutely.
Be great.
I got a couple ideas of where banners can go to cover some other things up, but we want to give a welcome to Mr. Joe Deegan, who's joining us this morning. Joe, how are you?
Good morning, everybody. So I just want to know, is it the Dan and Fran Show or the Fran and Dan Show?
We discussed this.
How's that all going to work out?
7 a.m.
Juggling that all morning.
We
had an on-air public debate, and
I'm sorry, I'm late to the party.
I wisely, I think
her husband's name is Dan, so
there you go.
Yeah.
It's alphabetical.
I deferred
to Fran.
What Fran would prefer, and she selected Dan and Fran, which I agreed. Because I'm a phonological English major, so you want to constantly process words where they sound phonologically correct, and that's how my brain works. So,
wow.
Yeah, exciting times here, St. Michael's College graduate. So Joe, first things first. I know I shared with you some thoughts I had. I want to talk to you about. Which we'll get to in a minute, but just wanted to give a quick plug. She just texted me, Stephanie Doyle of Mentor Me. If you're not familiar with what Stephanie's doing, I encourage you to get to know who she is, what she's doing. Essentially what she did is revive the old Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Oh, awesome.
And the impact she's having is incredible.
Hey,
and
I was a big brother.
Bingo.
And that was an awesome experience for me, let alone what it was for my little brother, who I just saw about 9 months ago.
Oh.
And it was a phenomenal experience for me to be involved with. I would encourage anybody to do it.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I know one of the challenges Stephanie has is particularly the need for male mentors.
You know, it is. Lord knows I came unprepared to talk about this, but I will.
Yep. That's how we do it here, Joe.
I remember very clearly. I forget the woman's name who was the director. This was 25 years ago.
Oh, jeez. What a lady. I know exactly. She lived in Woodstock.
Colleen.
Yes.
Mountford? No, Colleen.
Nope. Colleen Mumford.
Okay, go ahead.
So I always remember this. I interviewed and, applied and did whatever I had to do and went through the screening and the vetting. And I always remember her telling me this. She said, once you sign up for this, don't quit.
Yep.
All these young boys know is men come in and out of their life and go away. You can't, if you're in, you're in. And that made such an impact on me. And I was, at a place in life. I was very young. I was in my late 20s. And I certainly didn't have a lot of spare change, but I could take this kid out for a hamburger and hang out with him. And I did. And it was just his life and my life were two very different lives.
Oh.
And it was a great experience. Let me put it to you this way. He was 14 years old and he was a father.
Yeah.
So it was an impactful time for me.
Wow. Yeah.
Did I do him some good? I'd like to think I did him some good. I did see him about 9 months ago. It was a really great reunion. He's an awesome kid. He's not a kid anymore. He's in his 40s.
Wow.
But, life, if you can give back a little bit along the way.
I know, I should.
Well, and I can tell you right now, you had way more impact on his life than you even know about.
Yeah, probably.
But
I'm not looking for an award, but I probably did.
Yeah. So anyway, Stephanie, that turned into a nice plug for you.
It's all true. That's it.
But yeah, so right now the nominations are open for the Chronogram Awards. You can vote for Mentor Me under the Youth Advocate Program, and Stephanie Doyle under People Youth Advocate of the Year. So I'll be voting when we get off the air, and it's a great program that is still kind of in its rebuild stage, but
great. That is really good to hear.
Joe, because Stephanie keeps asking me to join, and I keep telling her that when I do it, I want to be able to do it right.
Exactly.
And I have my own son that keeps me busy, when I'm coaching and things, but
you can't commit, don't.
Exactly. And that's how I've always been. I joined some boards over the years, for whatever reason, it's not the right time or not the right fit. And you gotta be honest with yourself. So
yeah, no. And again, I remember I'm just all playing this back in my head with my overconfident self, going, I applied, and who wouldn't want me? I mean,
absolutely,
I'm in.
Yeah,
right, I'm in.
Yeah.
And there was two women that that interviewed me, and I'm like, what do you give me a break here? I just want to do this, and they were setting the expectations where they needed to be. It was invaluable. Like I said, I remember it like it was yesterday. She said, once you commit,
you're in.
You can't get out of this kid's life.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so. You were allowed to. My guess is the rules are the same. At 18, you kind of had to stop formally.
Yep.
Being a big brother, you could still obviously have a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So I was with the young man until he was 18, and like I said, we still run into each other on occasion. It's pretty
That's nice. I don't run into my little. And it was life-changing on both our ends. Yeah, she raked me over the coals, that one. She she had my number, boy. Anything she wanted, I was so I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I wake up pretty much every morning, and your cousin gave me a great phrase, and almost every morning I say, do something good for yourself today, and do something good for somebody else. And I try and live by that. Can't say I always do. I really try and live by that, and the Big Brother program was a little.
Well, it's a mindset, right? And it's a good segue into, one of the things we want to talk about, because you look at people that have done so much for this community, came back here to give back and do great things, and we were at the hearing for the Kingstonian the other night, and I know you spoke up in favor of it. I wasn't sure if I could go to the physical meeting, so I didn't sign up to speak, but I did write a letter for now, I think the third time to the Common Council, asking them to approve closing the Fair Street extension, which, boy, I never knew that one little side street in one little town in America could cause some people such just discomfort and anger.
It's just actually one person that is causing
Well,
discomfort.
there's three, but we'll get to that in a minute. Which is, I mean, I guess if that's what's kind of crossing the hairs across your back, you might want to talk to somebody about that. But that's just my own opinion. No reflection on anybody else here. But I was there for about an hour the other night, and the overwhelming response of the community was, "Let's build this." And it was so nice to hear so many people from different walks of life talking about, the Jordan family and Brad Jordan and their impact on the community. And I thought of this afterwards. If I did get to speak the other night, I was going to ask 3 questions. Raise your hand if you're a property owner. All right, raise your hand if you've been here more than 5 years. And raise your hand if you can voluntarily tell us something you've done to give back to this community. I think it would be hard-pressed to answer. But to the bigger point, what I'd asked you about last night is, I guess people have a really hard time following what a pilot is.
They do.
And I guess, actually, a comment that was made afterwards the other night, because our school board president is clearly, that's one of his main challenges, right, with the thing. But, a pilot's available for anybody, right? I mean, I guess I don't want to make any assumptions. Could you just explain from...
Let me just make the first disclaimer. I'm not the end-all, be-all knowledgeable guy on pilots. I can speak to the generalities of them. Who's eligible or not, I don't want to start... I don't know that rule book, per se. But I could tell you and the listeners in general, a pilot works as follows. So you went out and you bought this $1 million piece of real estate, and it has $1 million assessed value. And I'm just going to use nice round numbers. And that creates a $100,000 tax liability between general and school taxes annually to the school district and the municipality. And you have great grandiose plans. You're going to put a $3 million investment in that asset and grow jobs and do whatever you're going to do. And guess what? The assessor is only too happy to run out upon your completion and take your assessed value from, again, I'm being very general here, folks, from $1 million to $4 million. And your $100,000 tax bill just went up, to $400,000. Well, most people don't want to sign on to that plan, and they don't. So the argument is, wait a minute, and this is where people disconnect with a pilot, right here. The IDA, who is the governing body that grants and oversees pilot agreements, there is not a situation where a municipality or a school district will receive less than they already are. So the $100,000 in my example stays constant. The $300,000 in my example is then generally graduated in over a 10 or 15 or 20-year period or whatever it is. Again, I'm not fluid with all the ins and outs. I'm giving you the concept. So the argument is, gee, are we not better off as a community? We've allowed somebody to come in, put a stake in the ground, buy $1 million piece of real estate, improve it to a $4 million assessed value, keep our $100,000, not a penny less, and get an additional $300,000 in tax revenue over some period of time. Now, me being me and fair, Fox News, I tell both sides. You make the decision. I can tell you, and you might be shocked, Dan, because I have thought about this. You gave me 12 hours to think about it. Give me a text last night. I want to talk to you about pilot agreement. All right.
Hey, so you're the only one that got an actual heads up.
You may be shocked at what I'm about to say. I believe pilot agreements should be unilaterally banned across the United States of America. I don't think they should have ever been allowed legally. I think it causes nothing but grief and aggravation and arguments. And if you want to level the playing field, take them away across the United States. Every single municipality, ban them. let everybody play on a.
But the reality is they're here and they're
that
available.
is correct.
Yeah.
So the cat's out of the bag.
Yep.
I'm just telling you. You might be surprised to hear me say that. But the cat's out of the bag. They're here, so we have to deal with them. So then I'll tell you another weakness of a pilot agreement that most people listening might be surprised that I'm about to say, but I'll say it. So the developer makes the argument, I can't make this project work unless I have this pilot agreement. I can't invest all this money. Woe is me. You got to help me out, Mr. and Mrs. Government. I need a break. And when it comes to job creation, that's generally somewhat definable. You can go back and look and, hey, you have 10 jobs and you've created an additional 30, and that's an auditable sort of a thing. Where pilot agreements, to me, have an issue, and by the way, we're never going to solve this problem, let me be very clear with you, is the subjectivity of who are you dealing with? Are you dealing with a good corporate citizen? What's a good corporate citizen? Very subjective. Are they going to take that, you've just given them a runway. You've given them additional revenue, no question about it, to do something with. Are they going to take that and, put in some cool architectural features in the building? Real estate is a funny thing. When you go, and I remember being like 12 years old and sort of observing this. My parents, I think, took me to Cooperstown. We drove through Cooperstown, and my father said, "What a nice town." And it occurred to me that his whole impression and that whole statement was based on looking at a car window at the real estate.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. What a nice town. Was it a nice town? I don't know. But it looked...
One of my favorite towns.
So if you have a developer who's going to act in really good faith and put some architectural details on the building and some canopies and some really nice metal details and some railings and, really do it. Now, can you hold a developer to that in a pilot process? Please, let's not go down that road. That would be another nightmare of architectural review boards and standards and, and again, PS as an example, I, for one, and I don't want my phone to blow up, I think what O Positive does in this community is great. I don't like artists painting brick buildings.
What do they look like in 10 years?
I think it detracts from the city. I don't like it. That does not mean I don't like what O Positive does. That means who am I? I'm one opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make me right. I'm one opinion. So if we start to go down architectural review boards of what you're going to do with the pilot and how you're going to make this building look super cool, we're going down a slippery slope I'm not recommending.
So something that you said there stuck out, good corporate citizen.
Yeah.
I don't know that I know a better corporate citizen than the Jordan family.
I would. Other than me, yes.
Right. Myself excluded, of course.
You, me,
and Fran.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
but in all seriousness, I mean, if you have that big of an issue with a process, right, that I'll tell you right now, I buy a building, I'll be looking for a pilot because it's available.
Sure.
Do I agree with it?
Absolutely.
I kind of tend more to agree with you about what you said. Let's get rid of them. Because we all know that...
Well, we're not gonna, like you said.
We're not going to. So, for the dejectors out there, I think it was just described in a term that I can understand. So, just to put it real, so right now we've got a hole in the ground with no parking lot in a building that they pay taxes on, that they will continue to pay taxes on, and build a parking garage and apartments and affordable housing, which again, they added in because of some small group of very loud people, and a parking garage and public space, bathrooms. I didn't even think of that until one of the speakers the other night pointed out there's no public bathrooms in Uptown Kingston. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about all the traffic with the farmers market and the restaurants. There's no bathrooms. You come here from another town and you realize there's no bathrooms. What are you telling your family? Right? Well, I was uptown for 2 hours. It was great until I had to go to the bathroom. Way to go, Kingston. So anyway, I think that's exciting. Somebody just wanted me to ask you difference between IRR, forgive me, I don't know what I'm talking about, DCR and NATN.
Yes. I can only imagine who that's from.
Well, we don't disclose people that aren't on.
We probably
air.
should.
Were they too afraid to call up and ask on the radio themselves? Like,
Tied up at the moment, apparently.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could take a moment.
Well, an IRR is an internal rate of return, which is a real estate calculation, and a DCR is a debt coverage ratio, which is a metric in bank lending.
Okay.
And we're going to leave it there.
Okay, good.
We're going to leave it there. I could go in. Your radio audience doesn't need to know these.
No, I actually started. My eyes started to roll back.
Is it that boring?
Not for me. I'm a real estate geek. I love the definition of an internal rate of return, but I think people would go to sleep pretty quickly if I started on that.
Good call.
All right, so Dan Gruner and Fran DePetrillo here with Joe Deegan. Joe's starting to fly off the rails, so we're going to reel him back in. But we try to be positive. We try to be insightful here. Hopefully, one of the things when I had mentioned at the beginning of the show that you were coming on is, you have an opportunity to see kind of what's coming, right? To an extent, and just wanted to get your latest thoughts on, the local market as a whole. I, for one, am still kind of shocked about the announcement of the old IBM, with the iPark.
That
big news. So just wanted to get your thoughts on what you're seeing locally and specifically that project.
Yeah, that,
Somebody not like what I'm saying?
No, had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
I'll tell you when we're off the air.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Sounds good. I'm going to hang around for that. Why didn't you let him discuss an internal rate of return?
No, it had nothing to do with you.
I'm sure it's a damn.
It's got nothing to do with me. So, yes, IBM. I'm kind of a geek for dates. February 3rd, 1998. Allen Ginsberg closes on Tech City, $3.21 million.
So we were pretty spot up. Fran and I were talking early this morning, like time frame wise. Yeah, because I graduated college in '97.
23 and 1/2 years later of nothing has ended. I commend the county executive and the legislature for taking the bull by the horns and lining up. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of exerting government forces to unduly crush people. But in this case, lining up Chuck Schumer and the EPA and getting all that stuff lined up in terms of illegal asbestos abatement and turning the screws was the best thing ever. And then lining up the buyer that they've put in place is nothing but great news.
Right, and you said 23 years and nothing. It's actually worse than nothing. We would have been better off with nothing than all the factors that...
So this goes back, sometime during COVID. I don't even try to remember. It was in the wintertime. It was dark. So Nick Falvey, who's at Kingston Soccer, had indoor space in one of these buildings, IBM, in the back there. So we had rented it to do a lacrosse training, and I'm driving back there. Right, you want to talk about? There's no traffic, no lights back there anymore. I hit a pothole that I thought maybe this was the end of me and my car. To your point, that's 23 years of neglect. But I mean, I really, I've sat in on a meeting that the Ulster Strong, and to just hear like how this all came together. I mean, it's like book material.
It's beyond exciting. Look, that site is what real estate people dream of.
Yeah.
Water, sewer, limited access highway, 4 miles back to the thruway. I mean, come on, there's just so much upside there. So I'd like to think 23 and a half years from now, if I'm still on the planet, it's going to be it's really only up from here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know obviously you're not directly involved, but just from your experience, I mean, of course everybody wants it like done tomorrow.
Yeah.
They face a lot of hurdles with. I guess I'm just trying to conceptually like, is it fair that stuff will happen there this year, next year, 3 years?
I'm not in the know, as you say. I'm not intimately involved, but real estate is not a quick process. You still have underlying environmental conditions. I don't know how the county and the purchaser have tackled that. With you got IBM involved, you got DEC. You know, I don't know, but it's not going to happen tomorrow.
Right? Is it something, because obviously the county's what made this happen, right? Can they kind of help move things along at all, or no? Because there's different, like you said, there's different agencies, IBM's involved.
Only to the extent of, is a phone call quicker received and returned from one political organization to another versus a private developer? I don't know. But you know, it's great news. And by the way, you know, talk about, you know, what's coming, what's on the forefront, and we can segue right back to our entree of pilot agreements. Kitty Corner from this facility is a building our firm sold in June of 21 to RBW Lighting. And this is frankly, you know, Dan, you and I have grown up in this community, Fran has, and my whole life, everybody said, why don't you go get somebody from New York City and have them buy an old IBM building and repurpose it and make something really cool. Well, guess what? Hello, these guys, you know, this is exactly the example I just gave. And paid $1.3 million for the building. Going to put about $5-6 million in it. Yep, they got a pilot agreement. Yes, they did.
Yep.
That dirty, horrible thing.
Somebody else would have given it to them.
Yep. And by the way, employ 40 to 50 people. And by the way, completely relocated out of Industry City in Brooklyn. And by the way, all those people are buying homes and living in Ulster County. They lost, which is quite unique and speaks to a tremendous corporate culture. Normally, a company's biggest concern when they move is that they're going to leave half their workforce or better where they are. People don't move.
Yep.
Almost their entire crew moved here.
Wow.
And you go out there, I was there yesterday, I'm there once a week looking at what they're doing. I've got a proposal to lease up another 15,000 feet for them. It's just, and by the way, you know, they make LED light fixtures, you know, super energy efficient, green products. They ship all over the world, Kingston, New York. So, you know, call me bullish.
Yeah,
call me crazy.
Absolutely. Well,
really exciting to see.
Every win is a good win, right? Because we lost for 23 years.
Yeah.
And to watch, you know, I said to Fran when we first came in, I'm very hopeful for 2022. For Kingston, for our community. You know, I think there's too much good going on right now. You know, and I hopefully will have more to report the next time I'm here. But there's some really interesting conversations.
Way to build suspense to the next Dan and Fran show.
Tune in January 28th. But
oh my gosh, you set the hook.
Oh yeah.
I can't tell you now, but if you tune in next week,
next time on Dan and Fran.
Wow, I'm gonna set my alarm clock.
Listen. Wow. 7 a.m. January 28th.
You must have gone to
92.5
journalism school, man. I mean, that was good.
Funny story, Joe. Here I am up at St. Michael's College. My advisor keeps telling me, you got to pick a major. You got to pick a major. So back then, I had visions of being on SportsCenter and a sports journalist. And that was seriously what I was considering doing. And sophomore year, I'm taking a class called News Reporting at Night by a local journalist for the Burlington Free Press. He says, and he would just come in and be like a live scene, right? You don't know. He comes in, he says, okay, I'm on the side of Church Street with my wife, 2 kids, and dog, and our house is burning down. What's your first question? And I said, I don't need to ask this guy a question. His whole world is imploding right in front of him. And I left that, and the professor says, don't be empathetic. Your job is to write the story. So I left that class. I said, I'm not majoring in journalism.
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
And I went to my
things out for.
favorite journalism professor, and I said, I don't know what to do. She says, English or history? I said, why? She goes, if you can effectively communicate, you will succeed in this world. 28 years later, or no, 25
Now
years.
you're on air.
I'm building the suspense, baby.
Dan and Fran show.
Dr. Lynch, thank you, and we'll be back in a minute.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
There was this one time I went snorkeling in the Caribbean when I was a kid. It really just blew my mind. We saw the most beautiful corals. I remember thinking they were waving at us as they moved with the ocean. And then there were all these amazing fish. I'll never forget it. It completely changed the way I look at the ocean.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places so more memories can be made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Last night that
Okay, we're back. The last half hour. Dan, you want to introduce our guest?
Absolutely. Dan and Fran here, 8:30, joined by... Yeah, we got a rogue guest floating around in the parking lot we're trying to avoid.
That's because we have such interesting topics.
Yes, we bring it out in people. But Sal Guido's here. Welcome, Sal.
Thank you guys very much for having me.
Yeah, and
Happy
I'm
New Year.
disappointed because I have to run to work.
Yes, I actually meant to ask you that at the break.
I'm supposed to be sitting at 284 Wall Street at the Board of Elections right now, and I was like all excited because I haven't seen you. But you guys are going to talk sports, and I wouldn't be.
Not all sports, Fran. We got many other topics to tackle
that
are
talk food and restaurants.
Breaking news here.
Yeah, then I could do, but I'm sorry, I'm going to have to listen from my office because
nice to see you.
I was so excited you were coming in, I forgot I had to go to work.
Nice to see you and enjoy your day.
Don't tell my boss.
So I know you're a seasoned radio vet. But I wanted to ask you, this is a new show, obviously, so really been thinking about, people that have been in Kingston, supported Kingston, which obviously your family's got an impeccable track record of doing. So, as hopefully life gets back to a little bit of normal, I know we're pretty far away from that right now, but... I really wanted to get your perspective as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. I remember I was telling Fran early this morning, you and I had a conversation this fall that really stuck with me, and that you were in the kitchen at one point because it was so difficult to get help. So, but you you seem to survive it all. You're still here.
Yeah,
You're
still here.
Smiling.
Yeah, still smiling. Still enjoy it. Still get up every day and look forward to what lays ahead of us down there today. But it's been tough for everybody and every business across the market and every person. My heart goes out to people with kids, to tell you the truth. I don't know how people with kids and families have been able to get through this. It's probably been extremely tough. But yeah, down at Mariners, I never experienced anything like this in my life. The shortage of help was remarkable. Nobody wanted to work. You'd have people say they were coming in the next day, they wouldn't show up. I go in the kitchen a lot, but I was more of the head coach in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I was overseeing the plays.
Not the guy playing offensive line.
I couldn't be Michael Jordan, but I might be able to say to him, this is what you have to do in this situation. But I actually this year had to jump on the line. And first of all, to everybody that cooks out there, man, women, everybody, men or women, anybody that's out there behind the line cooking, I got, after 40 years in this business, I got a whole new perspective of just how hard certain things are to do and another level of respect for them. But put it this way, I don't want to do that again this summer.
I think people, I grew up working for Merle at Armadillo. I think people, you go out, going out to eat is a luxury. It's a time to relax. But I think people underestimate the level of stress, right, for the kitchen, for the staff. Now, you go in your kitchen on a Friday night in the summertime and things are humming along. Those guys and girls cooking back there, they don't have much time to chit-chat or anything else. I mean, they got to be focused.
Yeah, they got to be pretty much.
They got to be dialed in.
Yeah, you got to be dialed in, and especially somewhere like Mariners. Mariners is such a unique restaurant because it is very seasonal, even though I'm open right now in the winter. Little plug for the wintertime business. But it's a very limited-sized kitchen. When I show cooks and chefs this kitchen, they're blown away by the numbers and the volume that we are able to do.
Yeah.
The building isn't set up to be a restaurant.
Right.
So there are limitations to what the size of the kitchen was. So we really had to streamline things, and we literally, like you said, as the tickets start to come in, there's no time for really. You just have to go with it and be on point with everything because, as you know, and many other things, it's a domino effect. If one thing starts to crumble, it all just starts to fall apart.
Yeah, and I think another probably unique aspect for you guys is give a Saturday. You're busy from noon till God knows what time at night. That's a long run.
Yeah, well, luckily for us, I mean, the city of Kingston I've always been a dear spot in my heart, and that building and that place is always and forever will be very special to me. And I think I'm extremely lucky. It's a beautiful, beautiful part of the city, which there are many beautiful parts, of course. But I'm very blessed and very lucky to have that location. It's a wonderful location. But with that location comes the responsibility of, you're right, on Saturdays and Sundays, I literally have people at the door before we open getting ready to come in. And when it starts, and it doesn't end until about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
10 o'clock.
Now, so you mentioned you are open now. Are you open every day? Or?
Yeah, what I'm doing right now is I'm open Wednesday through Sunday, serving lunch and dinner, closed Mondays and Tuesdays, and that's it. My hours out right now, I'm open at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I go till 8. Fridays and Saturdays, I go till 9, and Sundays, I go till 7. Good. And the bar is obviously open too. Right now, we are inside with the bar, so we have the added TVs and stuff, and a lot of sports fans are down there watching the football games and stuff.
Good, and I know this past summer you added the ice cream shop?
Yeah, we added What's the Scoop, which is a 24 flavor ice cream shop. Up front. We serve Jane's ice cream, which Jane's ice cream, for anybody out there that knows, is a fabulous product.
Yeah,
it's an excellent product.
It's on the lighter side, right?
Yeah. So we have 24 flavors of Jane's ice cream. It was the first year that we opened. We were scheduled to be open Memorial Day weekend, but as everything else in the world, a lot of the equipment was held up, and we didn't get going till about 4th of July. That threw a little bit of a wrench into things, so we kind of went into it, feet running, full bore. But I'm looking forward to that this year too. We're experienced with it now a little bit, and it's just another added great spot. In the summer I really don't use that area, so I just tried to think of something that was not going to put more stress on the kitchen,
Yep.
but also offer something that isn't downtown.
That's a great point, and I was just thinking, like, right, because Riley Purvis worked for you there, and
Yes, she did. She was a great employee. Hopefully she will be back.
Yeah, and I used to come down with her dad to pick her up sometimes, and she's a very, very good student, and so she would talk about the number of people that came through, and I kind of listened to you talk, right? So you list Memorial Day, right, which is a huge weekend in Kingston.
Yep.
And the weather wasn't that great last summer.
It was not.
You think about like the Hooli, which probably should have been a gold mine for you with the ice cream. The weather was horrible.
The weather was tough. Yeah. The weather was.
I know you were busy because that's when you and I were talking initially. But a good summer, and that should be a nice added. And there's some more kids that are now age eligible. That'll be looking for work this summer.
Perfect. So. Send them down. We'd love to have them.
I told my son.
We'd love to have
him. He's actually bussed for Dave Amato a couple times. And he's 14. It's tough work.
Yeah, it is.
But he made real money. And I said, listen, you could work. We could talk to Sal. We could talk to Dave. Whoever. You work at one of these places down on the water, you're going to be making more money than any of your friends that are, working at a retail or whatever. I said, yeah, it's hard work, and not everybody likes to do that work.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I started. I started
exactly.
My cousin Frank brought me to Highland when Mariners was down there when I was just turning 16 years old, and I was more in the back of the house actually at that time. His son Mark was more in the front, but that's how I learned. And I'll tell you what, it's hard work, but it's work that. First of all, you're very well rewarded.
Absolutely.
Very well rewarded. And if you do the right thing by it, you do learn a lot of lessons. I've said this many times before, and it's not belittling my college education. I value my college education very much. But the time I spent with Frank down in Highland is priceless to me.
Yeah.
Life lessons, business lessons, everything that I learned, business-wise from him, has luckily for me spilled over into being successful down at Mariners.
I agree with every single thing you just said, and I started working for Merle at Armadillo. Her and my mom were friends, and I wasn't that motivated to get a job, and so my mom, I come home one day, she says, "Go down to Armadillo at 3:00 tomorrow." I said, "For what?" She says, "You're going to talk to Merle." I said, well, I kind of knew Merle from going in there a couple times with my parents, but I didn't really know her. So I meet with her. I have no restaurant experience at all. I meet with her, and she takes me in the back, and she says to me, "You're Rosie's son, right?" I said, "Yeah." She says, "You're cute." I said, "Oh, thank you." I'm like 17 at the time. I said, "Merle, I just want to be clear. I don't have any restaurant experience." She says, "I don't give a..." She goes just like this, "You do drugs?" I said, "Excuse me?" She asked me twice. I said, "No, I don't." She says, "Good, be here tomorrow at 3:30. I'll teach you everything you need to know."
Yeah.
So I started off bussing tables, then I'm waiting tables, and as hard as Merle was to work for, the one thing I will never forget the rest of my life, she could ride me, that's just the way she was. She always said thank you at the end of the night.
Yeah,
it didn't matter if I was there for 10 hours or an hour. "Thank you, honey."
Yeah. Merle, obviously, Frank is legendary in his...
Oh, yeah, they're the legends.
And she
You're
is
the next one.
I hope. I can only hope to be as good, half as good as both of them are. That's the thing. That she legendary in the area for Armadillo and everything. And she, not to speak for her, but when she's probably in her zone, in the restaurant, I'm not the nicest guy in the world to the staff.
That's why I brought up the stress, right? We don't give away the scorecard here, but I have an idea of the volume you do.
Yeah.
Just because I'm working up there forever. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
right?
And you have to react on the fly.
Yeah, because, here I come in for dinner. I'm hungry, all right? I'm a guy that gets hungry. I get irritable.
Absolutely.
That's
As
your
most
fault?
people do.
Yeah, that's not your fault. That's my fault.
Yeah.
But, Merle said to me one day, I'm walking, she called me her patio manager because I was the only one that, would hustle to set it up and whatever. Not the only one, but she, she knew she could trust me. So she asked me 3 times what was wrong with me because I had a puss on my face. And I just kind of, so like 20 minutes go by. She walks by me. She goes, get in my office. So I go downstairs, and it's that old basement. And there's a little office. And I'm like, what? Going to get a lecture from Merle. She goes, honey, people pay to see you smile. You either put that smile back on your face or tell me what's going on and you can go home. And you're telling me to go home? It's Friday night. I'm going to make a killing, right?
Have a good night.
And she goes, what's wrong? I said, oh, my girl I was dating, we broke up and just kind of happened this morning. She says, okay. If it's bothering you that much, and she knew what I made on a Friday night, and you're willing to give up X, go home. We'll be fine. But you're not going to walk around with that puss on your face. She goes, you got 5 minutes to decide. And she just got up and left.
Yeah.
I sat there and I said, I'm not going to cost myself
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a
X
big
amount
night.
of money.
Yeah.
But here I am talking about that 20 years later.
Yeah.
And no, she wasn't always nice at 9 o'clock on Saturday night when she needed a 6-top flipped because some group just showed up, and she's barking at me. But
you're right. At the end of the night, then, very gracious and
yeah, and another thing she forced us to do was memorize the specials. And I asked her at one point, I said, why do you make us do that? She goes, because people get impressed. And she goes, when they're impressed, they're more likely to buy.
Yeah, they're in a better mood. They're happier.
Yeah, and she said, because she always did back in the day, 2 fish specials and then a different sauce for filet mignon. She's like, I want people to hear, not just read it, but hear it. And it was those little things that what I didn't realize at the time is she was forcing me to be a good communicator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because what the customers didn't know is we had a contest in the kitchen. Whoever sold the most fish on a Friday night, you could then get a dinner of your choice, not just the the meal that she would put together for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, guess who used to win a lot?
You did. Yeah, because you were ready to go for it.
I took the time to memorize it.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of the people were doing this.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But I wanted to win.
You wanted to win. Yeah. It made it competitive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, you made a great point before, too. I mean, that's the way I am in my interview process. Not that it doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's obviously an added bonus if you do have some experience. But I'm looking strictly for... I've always said it doesn't cost you anything to smile. It doesn't cost you anything to be gracious. It doesn't cost you anything to say thank you and good night, which to me is a big deal.
Yep.
You can't let somebody sit at that table, spend their hard-earned money, get up and leave, and not one person in this place says good night and goodbye. That's why a lot of time I literally will have somebody stand their job, which I feel bad for them because it's not the most entertaining job of the place. They'll stand at the door, and when somebody comes in, they're greeted, and when somebody leaves,
Absolutely.
they're
and
told goodbye.
You know what's great too? I can come in and you're not there. I get treated the exact same way, as if you're there.
Yeah, which is a testament to my.
Oh,
staff, which,
I
God
forget her
bless
name right now, but the
my
woman.
staff. I mean, I'm only as good as they are, and they're wonderful.
No,
my
and
core staff is great.
I was smiling when you were telling that because I would encourage anybody listening. You want to learn how to do it right? Go see Sal. And I was out to dinner with a group of parents. My son played on a travel lacrosse team last summer. And the team wasn't very good, but the parents, we had a lot of fun. So I put together a little reunion dinner before Christmas, and we went to Little Italy. And I didn't realize that one of the dads that was at the dinner used to work for you guys, and like a long time ago. And so our waiter, I should say, waiter. He came and, introduced himself and did all the, and the dad says to me, he goes, that's awesome. I said, what? He goes, he just nailed everything they do in their training. I said, how do you know that? He says, well, I used to work for them. I said, oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But, to to a testament to you and Frank and Mark and it does make a difference.
Absolutely.
Right?
100%. Yeah. It does.
There's a lot of competition out there.
Oh my God! Yeah, and
particularly right where you are.
Every day there's more.
Yeah.
Every day I see another place opening up, which I wish them nothing but the best of luck. That's another thing too about downtown, with Dave and with Samir and with Steve and with all the other Moly Moly. There's a great coffee shop down there now too.
Yeah.
Half Moon, great donuts, Dolce if you want something for breakfast. We each have our own niche sort of thing. So I really don't look at it as competition with them down there. It's more the better they do, the better I do, the better I do, the better they do. If we ever need anything, we grab from each other. So, we really get along good down there, and, it's a good spot, and it works out well.
Yeah, it is. And as a customer, I've seen it. I remember I was waiting for something at the bar at Savona's, and one of your staff came in, and I don't remember what you needed, but that's, and the thing is, what amazes me, how hard you guys work, each of you, whether it's you, Steve, Dave, Samir, you still make time to do other things and support the community, and to me that that just is a testament to not only who each of you guys are, but why you're successful, right? Because you get it.
Yeah. Listen, the community has always treated me like gold, so that anything I could do to give back to the community,
and I
would.
I just quickly, because we got to talk about the Giants for a minute, but one thing I just wanted to say, I was telling Fran earlier, you have always been a major supporter of our Bike for Cancer Care, and I felt it was important to talk to you in person this year. And I did that with other people as well because, it's been hard. I've never, ever been shy about asking people for money because I believe in what we do. But I also wanted people to know it's okay if you got to take a year off and supporting us, we'll be okay. And you immediately responded, absolutely not. You supported us at the level you always do, and you gave a little bit more.
Yeah, well, you guys have always treated me great, and it's not only that, the what you guys are doing with that is phenomenal. So, of course, you can always count on me.
Well, we appreciate it, and we do. We used to have a really fun party down there after the bike ride, but we've gotten too old to do that anymore. Yep. Now I go home and put my feet up.
I don't blame you. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So, the Giants scared me this week when they didn't fire a judge on Monday. And then I was having lunch with my dad on Tuesday.
But at least he's gone.
Right, but this is what I said to my dad. It was like an epiphany. I said, Dad, think about this. They're starting to interview GM guys on Tuesday, right? Imagine, you guarantee the first guy said, yeah, I'd be interested in this job, not with him here.
Yeah, not with him here.
And
at least they're interviewing guys that have the last name Abrams.
Yeah.
That's the big part of it,
some
too.
Some guy on Facebook, woo! I can't even read on the air what he responded.
Yeah, are you guys? No, I'm not on Facebook, but I'm on it through Kingston Community Radio.
Yeah.
Are you guys on Nothing But a G thing?
I'm not.
Have you ever read some of the stuff that comes out of
there? I will be when I leave, yeah.
Have you ever read some of the stuff? It's pretty much a New Jersey-based Giants fan thing. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
They are relentless on there, ripping the Maras apart.
Well, this guy, because I said Abrams wasn't a fit, apparently he's like a family member or something.
Yeah.
He found me on Facebook, sent me a message, and told me exactly what he thinks of me, even though he doesn't know me. It was really uplifting.
Really?
It was, foul.
Wow.
Why? Because you ripped Kevin Abrams?
What I said is it got to be
He's not
somebody
fit for the
outside.
job.
Yeah, which I agree with you 100%.
I said Abrams isn't the answer.
He's 100%. Not the answer.
Listen,
he was
Jerry
I'm sure
he was Jerry Reese's assistant, and he was Gettleman's assistant.
Correct. And listen,
it's time to go outside.
They interviewed the Bills guy, and they interviewed the Arizona Cardinals guy.
I'd take either one of them.
Either one of them are fine by me.
Yeah, me too.
Now, as far as a coach goes, I think Kellen Moore is great, but you can't bring a first year. We've already failed.
We've done that now.
Three coaches in a row, even though I like Ben McAdoo. But Pat Shurmur, first-year coach, terrible.
Yep.
Joe Judge, first-year coach, terrible.
Yep.
So we got to take someone that can take the reins.
Hey, the reality is this. Whoever the next head coach and GM are, have to make a fast and hard decision on both your quarterback
Yeah.
Well, no, this is going to be the decision. Jones is going to be gone after next year because the way Gettleman's punk ASS did Daniel Jones's contract is he's still on a rookie year for next year, but his player option for his next year to pick up in 2023 is almost $21 million.
Right.
So
but what I'm saying
he's
is
going to be gone next year.
He's going to be gone.
Saquon's option to pick up for 2023 is only like $8 million.
I do that in a heartbeat.
So if you could put in, listen, I'm not. I understand Saquon is jinxed with the getting hurt. I still think he's a good running back. I still think if you give him an offensive line and hope and say a prayer that this guy doesn't get hurt, maybe he could be like he was in his rookie year.
Listen,
I know that's a lot to wish
I love Saquon from a team standpoint too.
Bingo.
He interviews. He's all about the team.
He is, and
then
I
if
like him
something
as a
bad
player.
happens, he's all about putting it on his shoulders. Saquon is a great representation, no matter what he's done on the field so far.
But he's got no supporting cast.
He's got no supporting cast.
And
Listen,
Gettleman made so many bad. I don't mean to interrupt you. One more. The Galladay situation. The guy caught no touchdowns this year. What did he have?
Andrew Thomas had more. Their offensive had touchdown
than him.
They did not. Yeah.
And I think Kyle Rudolph led the team in receiving yards.
He did.
Listen, when you have a game that Evan Ingram is your leading receiver with one catch for 12 yards, you got major problem.
Major problem.
Well,
Back
he's
to
another
Saquon,
person
when
that
he's
shouldn't have
getting
been
the ball,
back either. He should have got cut last year.
Back to
he's gotta
Saquon,
go.
when he's getting the ball in the backfield and there's a guy on him already, or he's running into a wall with no hole, how can we actually assess that? I agree, Sal, 150%. He's a good person. He's a good representative. He's, 24 years old? He's a captain of the New York Giants. You know.
Yeah, no, listen, the GM's got, this is a tough, any GM, I mean, I know you're like, oh, I'm the GM of the Giants. You have a really tough, you got a tough couple years ahead of you. You got a lot of decisions to make. Their cap space isn't really that good
Andrew Thomas is the only one on the offensive line I would say keep.
Lemieux is good and Gates is good, but I don't know. Hernandez.
Watch what we watch.
Yeah, there's not many guys on the entire team that I would.
I don't know. You don't like Gates?
On.
I think Gates is good.
Lorenzo Carter finished the year strong.
He played good at the end.
That's defense.
I know. I'm just trying to talk.
I think Gates. I like Gates 2 years ago. I think him getting hurt in the second game of the year, breaking his leg was.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I mean, not to talk bad about their strength and conditioning, but it's been like 6-7 years now that they lead the NFL in guys on IR, unless it's just a terrible string of luck. Like even like this year with Kadarius Toney. I like Toney.
And listen, all their coaches that Joe Judge hired, they're first and second year in the league. You got to hire guys that know the NFL. I hope the new GM comes in. That's the one thing when we have our 4 Super Bowl rings, we had GMs that knew what the heck they were doing. Yeah. George Young and Ernie Accorsi were at the top of their game.
Absolutely.
When they came into the Giants. And I don't think that John Mara is anything like his father. Wellington had the respect of all the other owners. I mean, the football that they play with is named after him, for Christ's sake, to do
Well, I think if you look at the 2 guys they've interviewed so far, right, they've both been involved in rebuilding franchise.
Right, well, their bosses have. Their bosses have, but they should have learned from that.
Right. That's how you get the next
that's how you get the job. No, I'm agreeing with it. But you still got to get a good coach. You got to get someone to lead these guys.
Yeah, the guy
you got to get rid of some of these dead weight.
More hands-on.
Right, you got to get
the other guys the head of scouting.
Yes, you got to get rid of some of these dead weight contracts too, like Nate Solder. The almost $10 million we paid him this year, he's got to go.
And I'm going to give them one bit of advice if the Giants were listening to me, which they probably are because of the popularity of this show.
I would think.
Do not listen to Bill Belichick anymore. He's not.
Oh, I know. He's not your friend.
He's not your friend.
He's not.
He cuts Nate Solder, tells him it's probably a good idea. Why? You didn't want him. Why would we take him?
Right.
He tells you Joe Judge is the perfect fit for it.
Right.
I mean, stop listening to Bill Belichick.
Tell me this. Joe Judge was a special teams coach how long in New England? Tell me, how bad were we on special teams the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
You don't get this coverage on ESPN, by the way.
You do not.
This is the real deal here. So.
Yeah. You don't even have to pay for it. It's free.
Somebody asked me the other day if I got paid to do this. I said, not yet.
All right. Well, listen, you guys did a great show today, Dan. Sal, thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys very much for having me.
You should get him on regularly as a monthly guest. And Sal, just in case you don't get the letter in the mail yet, thank you for supporting the Happy Christmas Fund this year. I really appreciate that. I heard him thank you for supporting for Rosemary Gruner Foundation. I appreciate you doing the same for us.
How did you end? I meant to ask you on the opening. What's the total number at?
It's over 70, somewhere
Yeah.
in there. Yeah, I haven't counted it all up. The day of the event, we raised 66, but we took in at least another $4 or $5 grand after the event. So
Awesome. Great.
we had our best year ever.
Great.
It was great. We had a really, really good year. So everybody have a great weekend. We're here on Monday, even though it's Martin Luther King Day. We'll be back on Monday with Medical Monday. I'm going skiing. Where are you going?
I'm gonna
before it get, you know how cold it's going to be this weekend, right?
Yeah, but my son tells me no matter what we're skiing tomorrow because his friends are coming
you
up.
You better warm up.
So,
that's why I'm doing it
I
today.
might get a couple of turns in this afternoon.
There you go. You guys have yourselves a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday.